Hi English 101 students, it is your graduate tutor Carly. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your summer. I am still enjoying mine in the Midwest. I've been kind of traveling around some of the states. For example, I went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a concert recently, and then I went to Michigan for the 4th of July. So it's been a really good summer so far, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about formal and informal essay writing. This is really important, especially in our time when technology, we use it every single day. Um, so let's take a look at some of the differences with formal and informal writing. So I created this worksheet that I will upload to Canvas so that you have access to it. I also included the website the resource I used to create this worksheet. It's actually really helpful for me, so I think it'll be helpful for you as well. So formal writing is less personal, first of all. It's mostly used for professional or academic purposes. It does not use colloquialisms, contractions, or first persons, such as I or we. Now, this is actually new information for me as well, not using contractions. So that was one thing that I actually learned from creating this assignment for you all. Informal writing is more casual and spontaneous. It's used when communicating with friends or family in writing or conversation. So this is kind of what we use every day through text messages. And I know sometimes when we're writing our essays, it's kind of easy to use text lingo because sometimes we forget when we're behind the keyboard, or if we're emailing a professor sometimes we can forget to use formal language. So like I said, informal is more personal emails, text messages, and sometimes some business correspondences. So there are a couple categories that I just want to do a side-by-side comparison of the differences between informal and formal language. So the first one would be contractions. Second is phrasal verbs. Third is slang and colloquialism. And the fourth is first-person pronouns, which is a common mistake that we make in academic writing. And the last one is when to use or how to use acronyms and initialisms. So I'm just going to show you a couple examples of some side-by-side sentences that'll show you the differences. So for contractions, the informal way would be the improvements can't be introduced due to funding restrictions. So instead of using can't in formal, we would just spell out the word cannot. Same thing with don't. For the formal, we would say are not believed to be accurate. So instead of I don't believe the results are accurate, you would say the results are not believed to be accurate. And another example would be instead of won't, you would just spell out will not. So some examples of the phrasal verbs, if you were to say it informally, the balloon was blown up for the experiment. Now blown up might be just a phrase we would use maybe in informal language. Maybe we would say this to our friends. The balloon was blown up for the experiment. But for formal, you want to use more academic language. For example, inflated. Informal. Another example of an informal sentence would be the patient got over his illness. So by saying got over, instead we could use something more formal and say that the patient recovered from his illness. Now slang is something that we really use just in text messages. A really good example that I thought was it was raining cats and dogs. Now that's something that we might say to our friends, or it's kind of a colloquialism that we say to exaggerate the weather outside, but it's not something that we would necessarily want to use in an academic paper. Now the most important is first person pronouns. Instead of using the word I, so I considered various research methods for the study, you would want to say various research methods were considered for the study rather than using the word I. You want to stay away from using we believe the practice is unsustainable. Instead you would say it is believed that the practice is unsustainable. Another example is during the interview I asked students about their experience. You would say during this interview students were asked about their experience. So really just trying to avoid the first person pronouns in academic writing. Now, the last one that is also very important, and I used to make this mistake all the time, when using an acronym or an initialism, and I provided an example of each just in case you did not know what an acronym or an initialism is. An acronym is just, or an example is technical and further education. This is how we would spell it out at first, but maybe throughout your paper, the abbreviation would be something like this. And same with an initialism, University of Technology, Sydney, maybe we would just say UTS. But now the rule is that the first time, which I'm going to start right here, the first time an acronym or initialism is used in an essay, it is acceptable to write the name in full with the acronym or initialism in brackets after. Every subsequent time it is used, the acronym or initialism can be used on its own. So the first time you want to use it, this is a great example. You want to spell it out, but you want to also put in brackets what the acronym is, and then you're free to use the acronym throughout the rest of your papers. So we just need to know what it is that first time. So I hope that this formal and informal writing type of workshop was helpful for you. I just want to let you know that you do have time to revise your first essay, and I would love to set up a Zoom appointment with those of you who are looking to have some assistance with some feedback, or just have any questions in general. I'm looking forward to hearing from you all, and just send me an email and we could set up a Zoom appointment. Thank you very much.